Hello, fellow anime geeks. Welcome to my best of season review for 2020 summer. For obvious and important reasons, there weren't a lot of anime series premieres out this season, but in the small batch that we did get, there were some really high quality shows. In fantasy and sci-fi, I enjoyed the fights in God of High School, but if you're looking for cool fights within a well-told story, I recommend Decadence. This anime original came out of left field for me, and it reminded me that when done right, an original can offer a complete and unique idea. The ending was satisfying because every element in the story was well written, and the way that they led us to that ending was unpredictable and natural at the same time. The world made sense, and the clever exposition tricks introduced us to this world in an engaging, intelligent manner. The twists in the plot were not only entertaining, they turned the abundant, seemingly disparate sci-fi tropes into natural consequences for this world's systems. I keep making this comparison when talking about this anime, but the unpredictable storyline and the unique concept made me feel like I was watching The Matrix for the first time. The first one. Just the first one. When I thought the story was gonna go one way, it would go off in a completely different direction. There was this huge battle in the middle of the plotline that would have easily been the ending for a different show, but for Decadence, it was just a turn in the plot. This unpredictability, the quick and focused pacing, and the changes in point of view, scope, and setting made it so that I was never bored. I didn't just appreciate the novel concept and the intelligent direction though. The characters were really good. It's like the writers realized that no matter how cool the story is, if the audience can't connect to anyone, then what's the point? Here, the plot is actually driven by the characters. Their background stories are actually significant to the plot and resolved within the main storyline, but what I appreciate most of all is that these characters are consistent. Yes, there is growth, but they are fundamentally, at their core, consistent, and therefore I can't help but root for them in every decision that they make. Decadence is a well-written sci-fi adventure with compelling characters and a fun, unpredictable storyline. Unique concepts seem to be the theme this season because two genres that I didn't think would ever grace the anime format both came out this summer. First up, lighthearted action thrillers, the likes of Bond and Ocean's 11. Surprisingly, this genre actually has two releases this summer, one from the law enforcement perspective and one from the con artist perspective. Fugo Keiji Balance Unlimited is a pretty perfect story. It starts off as a tongue-in-cheek mixture of Bond and Sherlock with big explosions, fun plot twists, and witty banter. We flesh out the characters through a couple of related cases, slow down for an episode to establish relationships, and then connect all of the plot points, including why this millionaire chose to be a detective in the first place, in a surprisingly dark storyline with a satisfying conclusion. But Great Pretender had that extra something that made it oh so bingeable and my pick for this season's action thriller. Like in Fugo Keiji, each case doubles as a character backstory and the pace is quick. The first season is 14 episodes and covers 3 heists, or cases as they call them in the titles. So there's a nice mixture of bingeable stress and relief of completion. It's not a full narrative like Fugo Keiji, but each case is satisfying and feels like a step forward for each focused character. I also found it more engaging than Fugo Keiji, perhaps because of the ingenuity of each heist. There's fun Ocean's 11 style reveals in each case, and I actually want to see how they pull it off. There's also the stress of not knowing if they're gonna get caught. The first arc had me at the edge of my seat every time something went wrong. And as far as characters, who doesn't love a good-natured rascal? While each case has a different focus, we very much follow a main character, and I like the way that he's written. At first, I didn't like him. I didn't like his response to adversity, but he makes a change, and I find that more interesting. The other characters have equally deep, sometimes even darker backstories, and they're all really good people. It's that Robin Hood trope, man. Gets me every time. The music and art are excellent and well matched. The art has that rich color splash pattern style, giving it a kind of 1960s aesthetic, which coincides, by the way, with Sean Connery's stint as Bond. The intro is a play on the Catch Me If You Can opening title sequence, and it's self-aware too. It references Leonardo DiCaprio in the dialogue. And they somehow managed to get their hands on the Freddie Mercury cover of the song Great Pretender, and tons of popular music as insert songs, which all fit the tone perfectly. We still haven't seen the case study on Laurent, so I'm excited for season 2, which is already streaming on Netflix Japan. Last but certainly not least is the anime which captured my heart this season. It made me laugh, it made me cry, it made me want to learn more about the history of the automobile. In another unexpected genre, Abare Janman is a slapstick western action adventure. Is it a comedy? Yes. Is it an action adventure? Yes. Does it have beautiful art, an inspirational storyline, unique characters, and lots of heart? Yes, 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 and yes. The first scene immediately gets our attention. We start in action. Once the audience understands that the backdrop for this story is a transcontinental car race, we rewind to see how our characters got there. And I love this narrative device because I love knowing exactly what I'm getting into. The good storytelling continues, there's a couple of unexpected turns, and the journey itself is so touching, but the next thing that struck me was the ridiculously beautiful art. I think this is the third time I say this, but every frame in this thing looks like a freaking watercolor painting. I don't think it's a coincidence that this story is set at the turn of the 19th century when the Romantic and Impressionist movements overlapped. Abare is a romantic adventure, and Abare the character pursues technological advancement as romantic exploration. In a way, this reminds me of Dr. Stone, and just like in Dr. Stone, I love the title character, his passion, his focus, and his love for the unconventional. There's a message in that, and his interactions with the other lovable characters in this cast are fun to watch, particularly those with the more conventional kisame. Their growth throughout the story is really satisfying and the cause of many a tearful moment. For my friend. I'm not crying, you're crying. But it's not all seriousness. Contrast this romanticism with slapstick comedy, non-historical character designs, including a cheesy baddie, and the complete disregard for realistic language barriers. No, seriously, somehow everyone here understands each other, and they're not even trying to make the character designs look historically accurate. By the way, here's a turn-of-the-century phonograph. Remember those meaningful character interactions I mentioned? Yeah, sometimes they ended up like this. But, you know, somehow I found it all the more fun because of these wacky discrepancies. I loved all of the characters and their flashy shonen manga-esque designs, even though these 3 anime that I've mentioned today have all been originals, and I love me a good dad joke. In short, Abare Janman was beautiful, yet fun, heartwarming, yet silly, and definitely worthwhile for the adventurous and the romantic. Alright, those were the anime that I thought stood out this season. I hope you found something new to watch. Links to more information on all of this anime in the description below, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow for my coverage on fall 2020.